Hello, carpet cleaning world. This is me, Jenee Raleigh from RLMA, Roger Lloyd's Marketing Assistant Services. And tonight we have a very, very special guest. I will be interviewing Roger D. Lloyd from the carpet cleaning world. Hello, Roger. Thank you so much for, at this very last moment, engaging me and agreeing to do this interview tonight.
Sure.
Okay, welcome. So I just kind of want to get right into it. I'd like to say hello and reintroduce myself. My name is Jenee Raleigh. I am President and CEO of RLMA Services. I'd like to explain what that is and what we do, and how we became and how we are continuing to grow. RLMA is an acronym for Roger Lloyd's Marketing Assistant. Now, this is something that was created by myself. However, it's because of Roger, we have the platform to introduce such services to you in the carpet cleaning world. Thank you for that, Roger. So hence the name RLMA. So what we do at RLMA, we provide inbound call answering to help professionalize the service that you provide continuously. You're cleaning carpets, you're cleaning tile and grout, you're providing excellent service, but you might not have the manpower or the ability to answer your phone lines when you'd really like to do that. And that's where one of our services would come in and help with that. RLMA also definitely takes care of all of the marketing produced by Roger Lloyd. So if you are interested in any commercial marketing packages, residential marketing packages, after learning about them through Roger and him educating you about how to proceed with that, you contact me here at RLMA and I will go ahead and make sure you get those items. We also have been helping with scheduled commercial appointments to help your business gain the opportunity of building commercial based clientele, such as daycare centers, churches, some schools, doctor's office and the like, law offices and things like that. So one of the services that RLMA does offer does include making cold calls and following up with the decision maker to get you, the business owner, right in front of that other business owner of that bank or of that church or daycare center, so that you get that job of providing the carpet cleaning for them regularly. So that's another service that is offered. So we'll get into those details later. So we've had a lot of newer members very recently since the holidays. I don't know what the numbers are yet. I'll do that and we'll figure it out and we'll get back to you. But there are a lot of you that have joined the carpet cleaning world. So thank you and welcome. And Roger, what did you want to say about that?
I think you said it all.
Okay, great. All right. So I want to introduce Roger Lloyd. He started the carpet cleaning world. He owns a carpet cleaning business, and he's going to correct me, called BioClean in the Pennsylvania, in the state of Pennsylvania. So I'm going to be asking him some questions about how he started, how many years he's been involved, what he has to offer this industry. A lot of you do know already, so that's great. Maybe some of you might need to hear some things again. Some of you just may not know and are new to the carpet cleaning world, so welcome. You may be watching this maybe on YouTube. Welcome. So we just want to give you an opportunity to learn a little bit more about what Roger has to offer this industry. Roger, could you talk to us about the early years and what it is that got you into the carpet cleaning business and how you became interested in doing this?
Well, about 29 years ago now, I was working at a telemarketing firm, and I was pretty good. I had a way with words. So there was a young gentleman that worked there with me, and he said, "You know what? You're a pretty good salesman." I was like, "Oh, thank you." He said, "You know what? I have a part-time job that I do at night, and it pays $100 an hour. I mean, $100 per sale." And so I'm like, "Wait a minute." I said, "I can pretty much feel like I could sell anything." So anyway, I went to the interview, and it was about rainbow vacuum cleaners. And what happened was, of course, you had to set up your um, estimates, or not estimates, but your demonstrations, and you had to show them, how the rainbow system worked. So I was pretty good there. And so the owner of that franchise said, "You know what? I want to send you to carpet cleaning school, and I want you to learn how to get spots up. And then I want you to come back, train our guys so they can go out on jobs, and that'll help them sell more rainbow vacuum cleaners." So I was like 20 years old. I was like, "Yeah, sure." I didn't realize that he wanted me to do more training once I went to John Don's classes and got what I like to call edu-cleaned. And I came back. He wanted me to start training the rest of the guys there. And so I was like, "Wait a minute, this is cutting into my time of selling the vacuums." So I said, "Wait a minute, you don't have to pay me for this." And he was like, "No, no, we're not going to do that." So I said, "You know what? When I was at the John Don spotting class, I had met some young guys that were around my age, 20 to 22 years old. And they were saying that, they had a truck mount, and they were showing me checks where they were getting like $250 a house. And you have to remember, this was about 28, 27 years ago now. And so I was a young man. I didn't have any kids. And I was like, "Wait a minute, my part-time job, I'm only getting $100 if I sell a vacuum cleaner." Then I had a full-time telemarketing job. And if you guys know how that goes, I was getting paid $9 or $10 an hour. But this guy was no more than 22 years old, and he was showing me checks for $250 per house. Then, he was doing like 3 houses a day. So right away, I knew that I had to make some changes. I always knew I wanted to own my own business because I couldn't really work for someone too much as I got older. And so I went on and I started, I got let me tell you, I bought a portable machine. I think my first portable was a Steamex, one of them gray heavy duty carpet portable carpet cleaners. But you know what? I was going out, I was cleaning a lot of houses, and I didn't know how to charge. I didn't know anything. And back then, this was pre-internet. So the guys that were in the John Don's and supply shops, they weren't giving up any information to help you. So then, Lord and behold, AOL came out. And then, I found out about Joe Polish, and I called. And of course, it was an informal type thing. He had some people answering his phones. So I really never got to speak with him, but I did get his package. And I remember my first client, Karen Bazaar, it was the first time I measured with a measuring wheel back then, and I did the square footage. I didn't know anything about packages at that time, so I only knew how to give her a price. And I did. My first job, doing the 3-step letter program, that was the old Joe Polish way back then, black and white paper, dropping letters off on the doorstep. But I got my first job after the Joe Polish 3-step letter program, and I made $850. I didn't even think that was possible, in the carpet cleaning business. And then I studied on, and then I met Howard Partridge. Now he was a more close knit to the guys back then that bought into his marketing, and he taught me how to get referrals from realtors, carpet stores, and interior designers. So then I said, "Wait a minute, this isn't about carpet cleaning anymore. This is about selling, marketing, and then of course you would do the cleaning last, or you would perform the cleaning last. But if you don't understand the marketing aspect of it, it's going to be hard." So then, as time went on, we had Mikey's board on on the internet, where it was more still, you couldn't interact with someone, but you could post and the guys would post back. Okay. And then here comes the Pro Cleaners Network, which was a interactive chat room where carpet cleaners like myself would come in every day, normally between the hours of 7 and 9, and we would just shoot the breeze and talk about the business and things like that. And I was like, wait a minute, this is the answer. So I was there for a number of years. I had every Tuesday night, just like I have the Revolution show, they had a speaker and he or a cleaner would come in and he would talk. And I was like, wait a minute, this is the way to go. I'm listening to different cleaners all the time. They're expressing themselves. They're going through the same things I'm going through. And the Pro Cleaners Network and Mikey's board was the way to go back then. And then we got Google AdWords, and Facebook. And that leads us to the upcoming years.
Great. So that tells how we got to this point. That's amazing. At the tender age, well, it's very young, 20 years old, you made a decision, first of all, to go into business for yourself. Through the way of, you started off through telemarketing, and then they saw something enough in you, and you became a trainer through a vacuum cleaning company, and they put you through sales, and then you went to John Don. That's amazing. Like at the age of 20, they thought enough of you to become a trainer. That's very important because someone saw enough in you then, and that kind of stays with you. I believe you kind of pick things up along life, and it kind of shapes and molds who you are, right? Maybe. Okay. Anyway, so that speaks to that. I wanted to ask you about some of the importance of mentorship. I know you've spoken about Joe Polish, and I know you've spoken about Howard Partridge. Those are some of the names that stand out to me, and I'm not a carpet cleaning specialist or an indoor air quality specialist. However, I've been around you all enough for about a year now, and I've picked up a lot, but I would like to hear about the importance of mentorship to you and how it worked for you and how you give back now, and how I think the carpet cleaning world has everything to do with that. But can you explain what that means to you, and any maybe recommendations too to help guide those that are kind of just starting out, or what's the guidance you might offer to your younger self? How about that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. I told you when I called Joe Polish's office, I couldn't get through to him. So that was informal. But the marketing materials were starting to teach me that it wasn't about carpet cleaning. It was about getting in the door and doing a carpet cleaning. A demonstration without a presentation is just a conversation. So I figured all that out, but I still wasn't where I wanted to be because I wasn't getting the referrals and things like that. And I wanted to get referrals besides having to do the 3-step letter program all the time. So I met Howard Partridge. And the first thing he did was he was telling me he was working on a truck out in his garage, not in his warehouse with his workers. So he was a little occupied. But he called me back. And I had an office at that time in my basement. I was married. I had very young children. And so I was really just trying to figure this thing out. Now I'm about 25 years old, and I want to figure this thing out. And so, needless to say, my young daughter was crying in the background. My wife was screaming, "Shut up, shut up." And so I had Howard Partridge. I had an in-house basement office at the time. And Howard Partridge could hear my background. Mm-hmm. And then he let me know as nice as he could. He said, Roger, is this where you answer your phones? And is this what goes on normally when you answer your phone? I said, well, yeah, my wife is trying to control the children, make dinner and things like that. And as nicely as he could, he let me know that I would never be taken seriously by any client if they called my home or my business as they thought, and they heard the babies crying and my wife screaming and hollering because she's so frustrated. So right then and there,
Can I stop you right there? You mentioned how something like that is really, it's very important, isn't it, to make sure that there doesn't seem to be a lot of chaos going on in the background when you call a business, and you as a consumer, you would expect a business to be run like a business. Now, no one has anything against babies crying in the background. It happens, right? But if you're calling about getting something done for your flooring or your carpeting, the last thing you're going to expect is that that company is going to do a good job if they can't control the environment once they answer the phone. The first impression that someone gets about your business is the moment that your phone is answered, is it not?
That's right.
And that speaks to the professionalism that is required for this type of service, because we're talking about changing the industry, right?
Right.
Or the way it's perceived, rather. Excuse me. Okay, so I did interrupt, but please proceed.
No, so basically, after Power Partridge said that to me, I knew I had to make some changes. And I started doing that. I started going out to my truck if I had to answer the phone, going to the backyard, whatever I needed to do to get to the phone. But then I still had a problem. When I was in a client's house cleaning, the customers that would call on the phone would hear the equipment, because at that time I was using a portable, but even so, it just was taking the focus off the job. So that became overwhelming. So then I realized, if I'm going to do this business, I need two things. Even if I was a small mom and pop shop like I was, single truck operator, I realized I needed an office assistant and I needed a helper. Those are two things that I don't, in my opinion, if you're trying to run it like a business and not just a guy with a high class job, you need that. You need someone that's undivided attention is to your clientele or your past clients when they call. You can't do that when you're out in the field. You can't. And then if you do have to put the wand down or whatever tool you're using, whatever method you're using, if you have to stop the cleaning process for any reason and you're in someone's home, you need to have a helper. That helper knows when that wand goes down out your hand, he's to automatically pick it up. If there's furniture moving on the job, if you guys do any furniture moving, they should know that they have to grab the tabs and the furniture buddies or whatever, and they're going to be moving furniture out your way. Little things while you're setting up the truck, they can be inside pre-vacuuming. You need a helper. A lot of times when you go to your client's home, they look around, they're like, "Oh, you're by yourself?" And you say, "Oh, yes, ma'am." And they say, "Oh, okay." But see, what they really, they really will feel comfortable, especially when they see you dragging all this hose. They would like to see someone else behind it on the other end. Right. So, and my recommendations for a single truck operator, you still need a helper and an office assistant.
Agreed. So that's part of mentoring. Those are the things those are kind of the golden nuggets that one can pick up just by having a conversation and picking up those pieces from Roger Lloyd, who's been, you said 29 years now?
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay. So that's quite some time. So I wanted to know what guidance you would give to your younger self. And it sounds like the proper marketing was something that sounds like it was important. What are some of the things that you wish someone told you about that you could maybe save a lot of time and maybe money for some of the younger, newer gentlemen and ladies that have gotten into the industry?
Well, first of all, the times have changed. This was almost 30 years ago. Okay. So now technology has came and has ran with itself. Right. And so now we're just lazy by nature. And then if we get trained that way, it's very hard to untrain our thought process and our mind thinking. So to make a long story short, whenever you advertise on Google, whenever you advertise on Facebook, yes, you can pick the areas that you want to target. Okay. But the thing is, repetition may not be guaranteed. It's not guaranteed with Google and Facebook. And people need to see you more than once so you can become a household name. And I don't care if you're a multi-truck operator or a single truck operator, at some point in your marketing, you want your target area or your target market to know your name. Now, there's two things when you go into this business. Number one, you have to write a business plan. And a lot of you guys don't do it because you don't know where to start. See, it's very cheap. It costs next to nothing to get into this business. And so you have to pay the cost to be the boss. So if it costs you nothing to get in, then you have to pay money on the marketing end so you really look like the professional that you want to be. And then you have to decide in your business plan, do you want to be a multi-truck operator or a single truck operator? If you want to be a multi-truck operator, you have to advertise on Google, you have to advertise on Facebook, but then you have to have a basic minimum, and you need so many jobs a day because everything is planned by the numbers. And that's why I came up with the $6,000 business plan for a single truck operator or even a multi-truck operator. They need to be bringing in, at least in each truck, $6,000 a month. That's $100 a day, 3 jobs a day, 5 days a week. So that's only $100. So if you have to run a special, you already know Stanley Steamer is running a special for 2 rooms for $99. So because you're playing numbers, you have to play numbers because your potential clients will call you on it if that's the way you're marketing. If you say, well, man, we run we have a $99 special, and they're like, oh, okay, well, what do I get for that? Well, you get 1 room. Oh, well, Stanley Steamer will do 2 rooms for $99. Since you're playing by the numbers and you have to keep those trucks moving, you have to make it something that Stanley Steamer isn't doing. You have to do 3 rooms for $99. Then you have to train your technicians to do a basic good extraction in an hour's time dealing with 3 rooms. And then if you're a single truck operator, it's all quality. You have to do demonstrations. You want to go out and meet the client. You want to find out what they need. You want to get a deposit. You want to make sure you have all the spot removers, everything you need to do that job, because you want to turn that client, that potential customer, into a client that's going to use you again and again and again. And that's the way you win as a single truck operator.
Okay. So that's all good advice. I know you've mentioned to me many times how you wish there was someone that was able to give this good information that you have to offer, and you give them step by step, and you give them, it's more than tidbits, but this is, so end of the day, it's kind of an insult to use such a lowly word, tidbits. It's so much more than that because it's going to change and set your business apart. I wanted to talk about what you say often about setting a standard of which other carpet cleaners are judged, and maybe changing how all of us are viewed in this industry. We have what do they call lawyers that go after the ambulance chasers? What do they call those slimy used car dealers? You don't want to have that negative connotation because you're a carpet cleaner. Number one, Roger, I want to hear about how you have changed the face a bit where that comes to mind of an indoor air quality specialist versus a carpet cleaner.
Well, first of all, if you're a carpet cleaner, you're telling everyone that's all you do. If you're an indoor air quality specialist, that leads them to the question you want them to ask you next. Well, what's that? Well, that's when you explain that you clean filters like carpet filters, upholstery filters, mattresses, so on and so forth. Now, you have to explain to them, when I say filters, all of these are filters for dust, germs, and pollutants in your home. That's why I call them a filter. And most people don't realize that carpet is normally the second largest filter in their house. So meanwhile, this is how I break down what an indoor air quality specialist is, because that's exactly what you are. And then if they weren't thinking about getting the furniture done, if they never thought about getting the mattresses clean, guess what? You just got all this work on one client and one house instead of having to market like crazy and give Facebook and Google so much money to keep more work coming in. You'll be making more money on every job. Now, this is basically for a single truck operator. If you are a multi-truck operator, you do want to play it by the numbers. But once again, it's still in how you want to do it. But you have to set it up so it makes sense, and you are setting the standard which all other cleaners are judged in your area. That's the only way it's going to work for you if you're a small business.
It sets you apart by when others recognize you as an indoor air quality specialist, opposed to a more generic term such as a carpet cleaning company. Oh, well, they do other services, but so and so carpet. Oh, this is the carpet cleaner. Oh, this is Roger, the indoor air quality specialist. And to fall in line with that, you just interviewed yesterday Chandler Thompson. What is his title? He's not a upholstery guy. What was his title?
He's a fine fabric specialist.
Fine fabric specialist. I imagine that there are only few of them in the nation. Just off of the name alone, me as a consumer, again, I represent the people that will pick up the phone and call your businesses. So I know very well what is appealing to that consumer, or the ones that is going to pick up the phone and call you versus after reading reviews, after doing research. That's what people do now. Am I right, Roger?
Yes.
Okay. So that was too easy. Okay. So about the legacy that I believe that you are already instilling in this industry, everyone that starts a business at some point has an exit plan. If you don't, it's smart to get one. It's part of a business plan. Anytime you have a business plan, the very end of it, the very last part of it, always includes an exit plan. Whether that means selling your business, passing it down to bequeathing it to someone in your family, retiring altogether, whatever that is, or whatever that means to you, these are things you want to start thinking about as well. Roger, you don't work as often as you used to. When I say work, I mean physically get on the truck, physically push the wand. I mean, you're there because you're that guy that has to be there. You got to supervise and make sure those guys are in line. But are you actually physically constantly cleaning the carpets yourself? No, right?
Right.
Right. So there are many reasons why you no longer do that. There have been some limitations from what I understand because of health reasons.
Right.
Okay. Can we talk about that?
Oh, right. Well, in 2015, I found out it was time to start having strokes in my life. The first stroke I had in November of 2015, I was able to recover from pretty good. It was a minor TIA stroke, which is a smaller stroke. And then in 2016, I had a major stroke in July where I was out for about 2 days. Then I had to go to rehab and recovery to learn how to walk and things again. But it was just so much time sitting in the dark room thinking about carpet cleaning, thinking about all the clients and work that I'm missing because I can't get up and I can't walk and I can't go about my business. But then I said, you know what? Let me go on Facebook and see what's going on with my friends and things like that. And then I said, wait a minute. Everyone's posting and commenting and holding conversations on Facebook. This is the newest way to communicate. So yeah, I talked to a couple buddies and I talked about carpet cleaning a little bit, and I saw they had no interest in it because they were far from the business. So then I started finding out about Facebook groups. I started some. Well, I was in one. I was in the carpet cleaners page, and they didn't really like talking too much about marketing and producing money. They like talking about equipment and things like that. So they shortly kicked me out of that group. So I was like, wow. I said, you know what? I have enough people in the industry. Let me start a little group. And my first group was started called the Carpet Cleaning Room. And I figured, I'm sitting in this rehab in the dark. I said, if these guys don't want to listen to my story, if they don't want to talk carpet cleaning, I got a bigger problem than I can imagine. So it started off with maybe a few guys listening. Then I started posting a little bit more, and then it was more guys, and then it grew. And before you knew it, it was no longer called the carpet cleaning room. By the beginning of 2018, it was called the carpet cleaning world, because now we had guys from the UK, we got guys from Canada, we got a lot of guys from the land down under, and we even have guys in South Africa that are a part of this group, and of course the UK. So I was like, wait a minute. This is the new way to go, because now carpet cleaners can have a voice and they could talk to each other. Right. And that is the best advice I could give to someone. Now, the second best advice is there's a lot of contamination in this industry because it's not regulated. There's no order. If you have a little bit of money or even a green machine and you can put some soap in it or carpet cleaning solution, guess what? You're a carpet cleaner. No matter how you cut the mustard, you might be a cheap overnight carpet cleaner, but people will buy into it because they don't want to do it, and you're saying that you can, and so then you have to charge very cheap. So they would rather just pay you and not check any credentials. Now, this is a certain clientele that I'm talking about that you could still get in this business. And if you make $50 and spend $100 on Facebook, you think you did business because you got a call. It doesn't work like that. And another thing, when you advertise on Facebook and Google, you're not hitting the same people over and over again where they're going to remember your name. And I don't care what business you're in, that's what it's all about.
It is. And you're actually watching this happen right before our eyes. Right? With the responses, from the marketing that's going out, we're seeing this actually happen right before our eyes, I said.
Right.
Okay. So now that you are talking about the startup and the purpose for this industry and helping them remain, when I say them, other owner operators keep a professional edge to what they do. You don't want to answer your phones while you have a loud machine going on in the background. You want the person that's a live person, number one, that is answering your phone so that they can take that scheduled call right away for you. And that's work, that's money, that's your bottom line, adding to your revenue. Any missed call, they're not going to keep calling you back. They're going to call who? The next person down the line, because you didn't pick up your phone. You didn't answer your call. And if you did, was it a professional answer? Did the person that answered the phone have the knowledge of the service or the product knowledge, or were they able to answer your questions or point you in the right direction? And those are the things that you want to be able to do. If you are, kudos to you, that's great. God bless you. That's just what you want to do. If you're just getting started and you don't know how, you definitely want to give us a call so that we can get you going on that. But primarily, you definitely want to start looking at a lot of Roger's videos. They're archived. Go back, take a look. Please listen. He's got a lot to say. Roger, I wanted to ask you specifically about the younger generation that's starting out in the business, the owners, the operators that have basic money startup, have mid-level money startup, and have no budget at all. They can just buy or get or whatever. They might be a second, third generation owner operator, and they have, whatever they want, to start their business, and they can purchase everything with no problem. Can you give each level some sage advice on what to do, or do they all need to start off the same way, or how do you deal with something like that? Because they're all eager to get started, but they all have different types of opportunities. So the one with the basic, barely enough startup money, how do you point them in the right direction versus the person that may have mid-level money and the person that just money's no object?
Well, we know the first thing carpet cleaners always want to talk about, which I can understand why, is equipment. I believe if you're just starting out and you have limited funds, you want to get a portable machine. I don't care what brand. And you want to get a little giant propane heater. What happens is now you have a portable truck mount. I don't care what they tell you. I don't care how they cut the mustard. Three things you need to clean: heat, temperature, and vacuum. So if you had a propane heater, especially a 120,000 BTU, that'll keep up with the water flow. That'll keep the water hot and things like that. So basically, you need a very minimal setup, a little giant propane heater on a cart if you have a portable, and a portable machine, and you're ready to go. Now, if you are mid level and you have a truck mount already, or maybe you have a couple, then you really just need to perfect what differentiates you from your competition. Do you pre-vacuum? Do you put up a sealer door? Do you have a shoe booty cover machine? Do you have all these things? Because everyone today can get a truck mount, so that's not impressive anymore. It's what you do to bring in the house. And then if you're a veteran carpet cleaner, it all depends if you're a single truck operator or you have trucks going out. It's a system and a business plan that you have to really perfect, and that is marketing. And I just believe that people believe that written marketing doesn't work anymore, and they're very wrong about that. Written marketing still definitely works. Think about all the things you get in the mail every day. It's not going away. They're still doing this. Even local pizza shops are mailing menus to you. That's why they have every door direct mail and things like that through the post office, just to get your word out.
Thank you so much for that, because we don't think of those things. Although it worked so many years ago, there's nothing wrong. If it's not broke, don't fix it. It's been working all this time. They may have perfected it a bit because of technology. I'm not going to never knock technology, of course. Unfortunately, we've become very reliant upon it. But, and in some cases, a lot of cases, let's face it, is necessary. But it's just kind of helped fine tune what was already, working so well. So like you mentioned in the very beginning, the 3-step letter, which you were advised by Joe Polish, correct? Those were handed out door to door to door, very old school style. Now this is the same concept, but done in a different manner using technology, right?
Right.
So there's always a way to merge the old school with the newer generation of doing things. So I really think I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to watch this unfold. And honestly, you should be too, carpet cleaning world, because again, Roger Lloyd is going to set the industry on its edge in the best way. And I'm very eager to watch it all happen. And I think the marketing is something that is necessary and much needed and reasonable and again necessary. how could you not go into you go into a bank or a business or a nursing care or nursing home center, and you do a pretty good presentation, but you have nothing physical or tangible other than a sheet of paper like everybody else that's come in with their clipboard and their bid, and it's boring and you just get tossed away with everyone else. This comes in a lovely colored folder with your name on it. It's just done so professionally. It's done so well. It's going to set you apart. It's going to be the difference than maybe being on the fence that probably pushes them over in your direction. So those are things that you want to consider. Listen, baby steps. If you need to crawl before you walk, listen to Roger and the advice that he has to give you. If you are mid-level and you're ready to rock and roll, give me a call at RLMA. The number is area 484, and I'll put it in the comments at some point, 484-420-7220. we can do a quick consultation and discuss any services that you might be interested in. Also, any services from Roger Lloyd's marketing, you give me a call at RLMA. Roger, did you have anything that you'd like to add at all to the carpet cleaning world? I want to thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy evening, and you have a big day of tomorrow, but did you want to add anything?
Yeah, the thing is, when it's not about, see, a lot of guys get confused. They think that I just have a marketing system, that's it, and it's my way, it was a certain way, and they couldn't be more wrong. The residential or the commercial carpet cleaning folder, I don't care if you charge by price, I don't care if you charge by square foot. You want to set the tone that changes the way customers look at carpet cleaning in your area. We just heard from Alex the other day that only 40% is even getting their carpets clean. And whose fault is that?
Right.
That's our fault. Because if you took the time, like Jenee just said, and not just get them a piece of paper off your clipboard with a price on it, but a pretty folder with all your information in it, guess what's going to happen? They never thought about getting their mattresses clean. Maybe they was going to think about getting their air ducts clean, but now they didn't know who to call. These are all things that you can use right and put right in your folder. And see, folders get filed, papers get thrown away, but folders get filed. I was at a lady's house 2 years ago, and she actually made a video. If you guys scroll back, it's going to be a lot of scrolling, but she got on a video with me and said on the top of her refrigerator was my folder. She had to blow the dust off it, but then she got her carpets and her tile and grout clean. So that rests my case about a folder does not get thrown away. So that's something for you guys to think about. No, you don't have to do it my way. No, you don't have to give them a folder, but then you're always going to have to fight to get new clients. And see, a business, a real business, has stages like life. It comes in, you go through your infancy stage.
Right.
Then you go through your toddler stage. Then you should go through the teenage stage. And then after that, it should be all grown up and it should be taking care of you. But you cannot do this any way you want. You have to follow a system, not just my system. I don't have a system per se until I talk to you. But what I do have is the professionalized marketing material that even if you aren't professional at all and all you know how to do is clean, well, now you have something that speaks for you and that separates you from all your competition. Just that folder.
I love that. Before I let you go, I definitely want to touch on some of your successes and failures. I know a few stories, but I wanted to ask you about some of the barriers and obstacles that you face. Just listen, we want to be, we want to humanize you a little bit here. Can you share a little bit with some of the newer generation, some of the things that they can either expect or maybe avoid? Like the list of don't ever do's, or what is it that you can help them? There are a lot of hurdles that you had to go over, Roger, and you tell me about them often. And I know how passionate you are about trying to create clear the path, so to speak, for the next generation coming up behind you. So I kind of want you to speak to that, and I don't want to let you go without saying that. Can you kind of touch on that a little bit, please?
The best advice I can give any new cleaner in the industry is stay positive. It is so easy when you get slow, when you're not making any money and no one's calling. And then even if you call out, they're not responding the way you want. And then you start talking to these negative carpet cleaners that have dealt with all these hurdles. And because they never marketed themselves right, they never targeted the market. They let the market target them. Now they're burnt out. They're tired. And so when they talk to you, if they talk to you, it's like, oh, everybody in this business is a scam artist. Oh, you need a CRB. You need this. You need that. No, you can clean as long as you feel as though you're doing a good job and your customers are happy. then you use whatever you need. But what I'm telling you is you have to stay positive. People feed off your energy. If you go into someone's house, hey, my name's Roger. I'm here to clean your carpets. How you doing today? Yeah, what rooms you want done? All right, we can take care of that. We can take care of this. And this is like, oh my God.
Right.
See, you're becoming negative. And that's what a lot of these guys are doing in the industry. Then they come back to these groups and these forums, and they always want to put everyone down, or they want to talk negative, or they say nothing works, or the only way you can advertise is on Google and Facebook, and they're making so much money they don't have to advertise anymore. Listen, you might not have to advertise as much, but you do have to do something. I told you, this starts off in the infancy stage, it goes to the toddler stage, teenage, and then hopefully, which a lot of cleaners rarely ever do, is make it to the grown-up stage. That's when you have so many repeat clients that you keep your schedule full. You have so many new clients coming in, and they wouldn't dare ask you how much you charge, because
Wow.
that's beyond them.
Wow.
And that's when you know you made it to the grown-up stage, which
Yeah.
so many of us do not ever do.
It's so funny that you said that. Remember how we were talking about the idea of if you have to ask, you can't afford it. Do you recall me mentioning to you that there were a few restaurants? Some of you may know this, especially on the West Coast and in the higher end, and very expensive, high-rated restaurants on the menus. They do not put the prices of a lot of the food, and you don't know until you get the bill. And I mentioned that to Roger, and he was like, "Where do they do that?" Right? And he was like, "I would never, like, how do you know what it is if you don't know what the price is?" But the truth is, the people that frequent those type of restaurants, and I think this was a restaurant that is in Santa Barbara, California, like where Oprah Winfrey lives, like really super rich people that, it was ridiculous. But the point being is they were accustomed to that and they wouldn't expect anything. I mean, Rob Lowe lives in this town. Like, and a lot of you may not know who that is, but I know you know who Oprah Winfrey is. Point being, it was celebrity filled, rich people, like highfalutin, and they wouldn't expect that there would be prices on the menus, because whatever it is, they're just going to pay for it, because they knew that they were getting high quality food. They knew that they were in a better than 5-star, or it was actually called a Michelin rated restaurant, which means it's beyond 5-star or whatever that is. And so long story short, something like that same concept, you will attract the right type of customer that is not so price driven. So I think that kind of speaks to a lot of different industries, including the restaurant and food industry. So it was just something that was funny to me. And we were talking about how if you have to ask, you can't afford it. And maybe this is not, because we're.
Well, the other thing is when you mail to these people, if you do try that methodology or buy into my marketing or whatever, you need to keep marketing to them every month. You should have two databases. You should have your customer database, and then you should have your potential client database. Every month, everyone gets mail. They get a postcard from you letting them know a different service that you offer or some type of benefit that they can get from you. And it should be event driven. And you shouldn't have to do all this. This is another thing. If you can make it easier for yourself and stop telling yourself, oh, I don't need to purchase anything, I can do all that myself. Even if you could, I don't doubt it. Why do you want to? See, an old saying goes, you want to work smarter than harder. So if you can eliminate some of this stuff, why even go out there and try to have to do it all yourself? You basically just want to clean and come home and enjoy life anyway. So just like you let Google and Facebook charge you whatever they want and only send your message out one time to the communities or to the particular person, why not take another jump and target the market and not let it target you? Because people need to see you repetitiously. That's the only way that you're going to become a household name.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. Um, one other thing about one of your, what I thought, what most people immediately would think is a success based on the amount of money maybe you were making. But can you talk about the types of businesses or the types of services you ran during out? You mentioned you were doing this for, my goodness, 29 years. That's mind-boggling. Can you talk about the types of businesses and types of services? I know you did like a mold business, or can you talk to me about that?
Yeah. At one point in time, in my 30s, I became a mold inspector where I could go out and do air testing for mold. And then I already had a truck and a couple guys working for me, so I could offer mold restoration services. And then we also offered water damage services. Now, all of this was good money and big money, but good money and big money is a lot of headaches and less sleep.
Right.
But if you're young enough, you can go at it, and you can go at it hard. Now, I don't know how it is now because everybody, every contractor, everyone's saying they're a mold specialist. But if you want to add water damage to your carpet cleaning business on your website, that would be great because then you'll pick up some water damage jobs. And then if you become friendly or build a relationship with your client, if they do have some mold, they'll hire you to get rid of the mold too, because nobody wants to deal with that. Now we're having Craig Jasper coming either next week or the week after, and he has a product called Just Gone Systems, where he's gassing the exterior or the interiors that have mold. Now this is a new technology way to get rid of mold, and it's much safer for you. Okay. Instead of scraping and drilling and having all those mold spores going in the air. Oh yeah, they will kill you.
Wow.
And so this is a much easier way. So once again, this is a way technology has taken you into the future. Right. And guess what? You can even charge more money because now you're doing it in a timely fashion and you don't have to tear all the walls and all the foundation out and replace it.
So faster turnaround, much more efficient, and sounds like 100% safer.
Right.
So it's something you definitely might want to look into, those of you that have the wherewithal to do so. Speaking with Roger and trying to get as much information as you can, you should be like a sponge. I mean, listen, we often say a closed mouth don't get fed. So let's just do this. Give us a call. I'll arrange a consultation with you. For you with Roger. You give me a call at 484-420-7220, and I will set up and arrange a consultation with Roger. He's all booked up into the first week of March. But after that, I believe I can schedule some time for you, Roger, if you'd like. We keep it short, 15 to 30 minutes. Y'all get long-winded. And Roger comes back at me about how much time it takes. His time is, there's a lot involved. So we want to be able to assist everybody, but to be fair to everybody, let's keep it down to 30 minutes or less. But that kind of concludes, quite honestly, the interview that I wanted to do so badly tonight. Thank you again, Roger. It's really appreciated. I want to thank you for everything that you've done for RLMA. You've given us a platform. You've also given us the name, but I really want to thank you for that and for the opportunity. And I look forward to coming on to your show when I can. But in the meantime, you'll see me next week. RLMA is back, and we'll go further with it. And we'll see you next Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern. Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye.